Welcome and thank you for joining ScotiaLIVE. I am Casey Johnson-Vaughan, Senior Manager for SME Professional Partnerships, Caribbean North and Central. Today we're going to be in for a great treat. You know, the last 2 years has proven to be very difficult and very challenging for SMEs. You know, the pandemic has shown, a lot of companies, if they were strong, identify their weaknesses, but also equally show them some opportunities. And so today we're gonna have a very robust conversation about, how do SMEs prepare or position themselves for growth, and to look at what are some of the strategies that they can put in place, some practical examples. We'll also be looking at some SME trends, and also hearing from our very own customer who will share her own experience. But I want to highlight that Scotiabank, we have been here to support SMEs. We've been doing it for many years and we continue to do so. So during the pandemic, we did so many things such as seminars, also we offer programs just to help our customers to make sure that they're able to thrive and do well. And so today I have two wonderful ladies who are going to share with me, their expertise and knowledge in the area. So if you look immediately beside me, I have Valerie Vera. She is the CEO of Jamaica Business Development Corporation, or what we call JBDC, or they call her Auntie V. And we also have Andrea Cohen, who is the joint CEO of P.L.A.N. Limited. She's one of our long-standing customers, whom we dearly love. And so today we're going to ask them to join me in the conversation to talk about, what are some of the challenges that SME face, during the pandemic, or I would say post-pandemic. Valerie, you have been working with SMEs for more than 2 decades.
Yes.
So in fact, how everything has been going. So share with me, what are some of the challenges that you recognize SME faced?
My goodness. First of all, let me tell you, we are working with Scotia this evening, but Scotia has been supporting MSMEs from many years now, more than 20 years, I must say. And we have always benefited from that strong support. So we are happy to be part of this program this afternoon. At JBDC, we said we're moving from panic to passion. Naturally, at the beginning, everybody thought doom was on, everybody, going to be failing and so on. Soon enough, we realized we had to fall back in love with our business. We had to not only survive, but we had to plan to grow. And we took that position. And we started programs just like you at Scotia, doing many webinars and reordering ourselves as an organization to be able to continue the support in a different way. In the same way, the businesses had to be rethinking the way to survive and to grow. And I'm so excited because Andrea is just one of those. She's smiling, she survived, she's growing, and that's the kind of thing we wanted to see, and that's what we're seeing.
Yes, I agree. Before we step into Andrea, she's going to share the positive side. But, I just want to highlight that some of the challenges that these SMEs faced, what we recognized was that a lot of companies had to look at laying off staff, or they even had to look at how to closing down, which was a possibility, the uncertainty with the supply chains. They also had to look at, the customer expectations now changing because, business is now moving from a physical to maybe virtual, or even how people consume what you have as a product or a service. And we also seen that, the health, safeguarding our health became a key thing. And so what companies never factored in a year or two ago, they now have to have that strong safety plan for them staff, for their customers, etc. So those are some of the challenges I would say that we have faced. But, Andrea is going to say when she heard Valerie spoke about passion, she was just smiling, and she's smiling again.
Absolutely.
Because you can speak to that, right?
Yes, and thank you, Casey, for having me here today. I am very happy to represent P.L.A.N. Limited as one of the joint CEOs. My husband and myself, and now our children, are involved in the business. And one of the things that I really strongly believe in is following your passion. Valerie mentioned it, and it's a resounding, it keeps coming back. If you jump into a business because you see someone else doing well at it, you will never be successful. You need to follow your core, your passion, know what your skill is, and hone in on that, and just move to improve whatever skills you have and reflect your best self in your business.
Agreed. That is so true.
Yes.
That is very key. And what I also want to say is that I've seen a lot of companies, what they had to do was to look at even how their workforce, in terms of, is it they come to work every day? Is it a 2-day or a 3-day? That to look at how to adjust to make sure that the business stay afloat, and that, or to look at what was the best operating model. Do people work from home, etc.? You want to say something, Andrea?
So one of the earlier challenges with that the pandemic presented was the no movement days and the restriction in time. So what we found is that we had to drill down and just be absolutely very good at what we were doing in that very narrow space. So the day was reduced, and we had to just make sure that when we got to work, we were very efficient. We had to deliver in time. We had to make sure that what we promised, we were still able to deliver. Thankfully for us, our customers had gotten to know us over the years and know that we don't make promises that we don't try to honor.
Right.
So that, again, is another important aspect of business. You have to operate with integrity and deliver what you promise in a timely manner.
I want to say to Casey, you spoke about how you manage the challenge of the staff.
Right.
But one important thing that our clients had to learn is that they started the business to solve a problem that existed for a community of persons.
Right.
Now they had to revisit that because there were now new challenges.
That's correct.
And new needs. So I used to come to the restaurant and have my meal. Based on protocols, that can't happen anymore. But I still have the need for the food. How do I revisit my business model to deliver the service in a new way, in a new voice? Because the client now has a new voice, new needs. Means you have to go back to basics, fall in love again.
Right.
And find out what those needs are and how you develop the channels to get to the client.
Right.
And you
to
can't be
continue
too
solving
hard
the
and
problem.
fast. Yes. So
No,
once
you
you've
have to be agile.
you have to be flexible. So if you find that your clients are asking you to present your product in a new way, you have to be willing to do whatever you need to do to present the product in that way. So instead of a large case, you may move to a smaller packaging that will cater to their new needs.
Yes.
We found that most people were shifting from eating at a restaurant to eating at home.
Yes.
And the persons who were at home wanted you to deliver to their home.
Right.
But the packages were smaller. So you had to be able to pivot to cater to the needs of those persons at home.
So as you mentioned, well, let me allow Valerie.
It's important what Andrea said.
Right.
Because one of the advantages of being a small business is that you have agility.
That's
And I
correct.
use the picture of the elephant trying to turn and the ant in between. The small business is the ant in between. You see, a large company need only a board meeting and decision making. SMEs should have built-in agility to respond to new needs in new ways.
Very, very
what highlighted.
That is so key, very important. And as you mentioned all of that, what I want to bring to is about the new trends. So in what you just said, we saw so many new trends happening as a result of the pandemic, and customers now have to pivot. So let's look at even some of the global trends. You mentioned earlier, one of them is that e-commerce has become is a buzzword.
It's a buzzword.
A lot of companies who had stores they had to close the stores or restaurants, and what they did was like probably work behind the scene, but you could order online, right?
And deliver.
Another thing, what I want to say, Valerie, that they also looked at is, let's say another buzzword was you saw people now working from home.
Yes.
Instead of going into the workplace.
Exactly.
Right? Anything else that you want to share? Any other trends that you recognize, Valerie?
What it meant then is that as a business, you had to organize your operations. And I know you love the digital thing. You had to reorganize the business so you can still reach the client efficiently. And your workers at JBDC, people had to work from home and still deliver business services.
Yes.
Means we had to look internally and digitize our process so we could be efficient still.
Yes.
And businesses had to do that.
That's true.
And it's an exciting challenge.
It is.
It
It's
can
a
be
newness.
daunting, though. I mean,
It can
while
be
it is an
daunting.
exciting challenge, it can be daunting if you don't have the systems in place.
Exactly.
So one of the things that you need to do as a small business owner is to ensure that your books are current. You need to make sure that your data is accurate. You need to know that, when you think you have 300 cases or 500 cases of product, you actually have that, and that you're not thinking you have the product in place. You get the orders and then you can't
fulfill those orders.
Disaster.
We're going to go into that later and talk some more about, especially with productivity and production and how that impacts as part of the growth strategy. But I want to just go back to two of the trends that we've seen also. We've seen increased virtual services.
Yes.
So before, a lot of companies, they had a storefront where we weren't able to go to have any parties anywhere. Persons decided to go online to sell their things.
Yes.
And you saw people now start dressing up on social media and taking pictures, right?
Yeah,
that was a new thing, right? But also what we saw was that a local focus. You see more people now buying things locally, which is very good for the economy and the SMEs, right?
Absolutely.
And quite a few persons were really happy to see that. And I just want to share that even data that we have can support that. You saw where the PIOJ, they reported that many industries, we saw a significant increase. Let's even think about manufacturing.
Yes.
Manufacturing grew by 3.1%. Construction, that is booming. Everywhere we see something, right?
It's obvious.
It's obvious.
It's happening.
Right, 18.3%, right? If you look at hotels, can you believe hotels was 330.7%? Because everybody decided, when we're looking, we're going to stay, we're going to do our vacation as a staycation, right? And then also you look at it, even the restaurants and accommodations, they went up by 6.2%. And what we also saw, initially, persons were traveling, but then we saw, because of people now being vaccinated and, people are now more careful, and with opening up back, we saw more visitors coming into our country, an increase of 304.8%. Yeah. So, we saw so many positive things coming out of it, despite the challenges. There are they really brought some great opportunities.
Of course.
And I'm sure you probably would have had many of your customers who would have probably told you that they benefited from just these.
Oh, yeah, but I'm excited because they're falling in love with Jamaica again.
That's true.
They realize it's a beautiful country and not only outside people must enjoy it.
Absolutely.
And they also know our food is the best.
They
have fallen in love with Jamaican products.
One of the things I've actually enjoyed out of the pandemic is staying home and cooking my meal myself.
Yes. Learning about our spices.
No. I've always enjoyed cooking. Yeah. But when you're working hard and long hours, we tend to have someone else prepare the meal for you.
Yes.
So I have actually been in the kitchen a lot more, doing a lot more cooking myself. And so, we have to allow ourselves these little treats during these difficult and stressful times. So that we can make it through the day.
I do agree. It has really, I actually enjoy cooking from home too. That has been a particular fun. And even working from home, I've been so productive working from home. But what I want to also say is that, looking at all of these trends, businesses had to look and re-examine themselves. They really had to look at, ask themselves some question, why am I in business? Or is it operating? Who are my clients? They have to be asking what are the solutions or the products or services that we need to offer offer my customers. Look back, do I have the right model?
You're right.
Do I have a business? Am I being sufficient? Those are the things. And even looking at who is my target audience? Who are you servicing? What's my revenue? Do I need to identify new partners? All of these things are some of the things that, SMEs really have to pay keen attention to in order to move forward. And so I'm excited to talk about growth strategies. Because, there are a lot of opportunities out there. I believe, they always say there is a silver lining behind every dark cloud. And there is a silver lining right now. I mean, this pandemic has shown us how resilient we are as a people. And so I'm going to go into one area that, as part of your growth strategy is technology. That is so key. So Valerie, you can share with me, for this segment, as an SME technology, what should SME do in this space, in this area, to ensure that they're using the right technology, the right systems to support and drive the growth of their business?
Well, as Andrea says, we need to consult and ensure that technology is appropriate.
Yes. It has to
It's great to talk about technology as a big thing, but it has to be appropriate. Where you need a bicycle, you don't buy a plane. because it means you can't pay back Scotia because your plane can't run. So you need to understand and consult and research. Research is not a university concept, you know.
No.
Research is knowing what you're doing.
You have to know what is appropriate for
What is
your
appropriate
business.
for you.
So if you are like in our business, we cater to, wholesalers and food distribution. So we have to make sure that the technology that we use is appropriate for that business.
Yes.
And one of the things that I found during the pandemic, and something that, the banks have been trying to encourage us to do online banking for many years, and many Jamaicans just resisted that. But thanks to, and we have to look at it that way, COVID and this pandemic, we are forced to embrace technology and online banking. And if you look at how much time you save by going online with a click, you save money, you save time, and wherever you save time, you're definitely going to save money. And so you do so much more in a day when you can do your business online.
Yes.
And you save a lot. You're not exposing yourself to the risk.
That is so
But you
true.
need to make sure that your processes can support whatever you do online.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think there are a lot of persons, including myself, who decided that I'm not going to learn. And the only line you know is clothesline. And they decided that's such a backward move. You had to revisit that position.
Absolutely.
You can pay your bills all night.
Exactly.
You don't have to stand in a line. And it's not as complex as it appears. There are always going to be that small community that need the hand-holding.
Right.
Fine. But in a general way, and certainly as a business,
Right.
we need to look at these new opportunities.
Well, every company certainly has to have in their strategy some element of how to have the right technology.
Exactly.
They need to ensure that they also use the right tools. For example, as you know, social media is very critical.
Yes.
Whether you have an IG page, whether you have YouTube, or you
have to
use
use it to your
Facebook,
best
or you have your own
advantage.
website, etc.
Use it
That
to
is
your-
very, very critical.
Use it
And
to your best advantage.
best advantage. And we've seen it now that everybody goes online to go find everything. Sometimes people want to find a clothing store, they just go on IG, or they just go on Facebook.
So,
right?
Kesia, that's a very valid point. But one of the things that we need to make sure that we do when we go onto social media is that you're actually checking to see that it's fact. Because, and not fake. It worked against us in this pandemic in so many ways, where people are anti-vaxxers or refuse to take the vaccine because they're not trusting what science has proven to be true.
Right.
And we know that, if we don't get vaccinated, folks, and I have to stick this in here somehow. I was not asked to mention this, but I'm going to mention it, because if Jamaica lags behind with the vaccination process, we are not going to recover quickly. We need to make sure that we're vaccinated so that we can get back on track quickly.
Yes, and to help our SMEs.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
that is so. Yeah, that is key. And what I want to mention, it is key that we actually put all the systems in place to ensure that business can thrive very well in this time. Right?
Yes. And
very
to
important.
filter information.
Correct.
To
and
make sure you are getting, as you say, Andrea,
accurate information.
Accurate information. Right.
A lot
in
of
a timely manner.
people play, a lot of games.
Yes,
On
absolutely.
the system, wrong information, inaccurate, on purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have to be careful how we,
That is so
utilize.
true. But it also can work very well for us.
It's a good
And so it's
opportunity.
a very good opportunity that we, as business owners, we actually, even if we don't know, we go find courses to
And
learn.
learn.
So
Absolutely.
that you can actually learn what is the best way,
Yes.
how to utilize this technology to drive your business growth and efficiency. And
Yes.
as you mentioned
tool.
earlier, it does make business much more efficient and smoother than going into a long line or try to figure out having this book to log everything when you have a system that can just put in all the
All the
data,
data
and
is
you want to
there.
go back
All the
and
data
search,
is
you can
there.
see everything about your customer.
So technology is a good tool.
It is a vital tool, and it
Yes.
is a good tool for every SME, right?
Yes,
So we're going to
yes.
move into another area which we want to talk about, which is operations, being the operational element of your growth strategy. So, business processes, it's important that companies need to map out their business process. Oftentimes you hear, boy, I just know what to do. But no, you need to have clear processes.
Yes.
You need to be clear. And we found that even with the pandemic, how we had issues with supply chain, You had to, if you didn't have a proper process or business plan
Structure.
or structure, then you know your
In
business
problem.
is doomed,
For sure.
right?
In problems.
So you know,
For
if Valerie
sure.
want to chime in or Andrea.
I want to support that because that is the foundation for any resilient business.
Right.
You have to have it structured. We say the business canvas because you're painting it.
Right.
Most of all, it's not cast in cement, and I'm sure Andrea
I'm
would
so
agree.
glad you said that.
It's
because
not
it
cast in
it's
cement.
dynamic. You have to keep improving it.
Yes, you have
to keep
because there's new
updating it.
information, new
Absolutely.
needs.
Absolutely.
So when you go pay somebody to do your business plan,
yes.
and you don't know nothing about
It's
the plan.
their plan.
It's
not
their
your
plan. It's not your plan. You can't manage it. You can't lead it.
No.
And it's not so difficult to map it out, to
No.
structure it.
No.
What is the solution that you're trying? What is the problem and the solution you're trying to deliver to solve that problem? Who is your target group?
Right.
It can't be the world.
That's right.
You have to have a target group that you are focused on.
Right.
How do you get to that target group? What channels you're going to be using to market the product or the service?
Right.
And what is the cost to do that?
Absolutely. Cost is
Is it
critical.
a viable proposition?
Absolutely.
You know, and don't play that is nice.
Yes.
It's only nice when you're growing and making money. Trust me, it won't be nice when you can't pay Scotia.
But you have to get there. You have to get there. And you have to
And
get
make
there with
the
a
adjustments.
solid plan
Correct.
that you can
and make
rely
the
on.
necessary adjustments
Absolutely.
as they come. So you have to be agile. But it has to be a structured
Yes.
plan.
Agreed.
And most of all, not cast in cement.
I like that.
Yeah.
I love that.
No.
It's true.
So you know, you guys use the word cost and, you know, be very careful and structured. You know, a lot of companies found out in the pandemic, if you didn't have a strong financial strategy
Oh, yes.
or plan or a structure,
Essential.
then your business wouldn't survive.
Oh, yes.
So you know, a lot of companies move from just operating every day, day to day, but you have to, some people say, let me start from a zero base budget and work it up and to see how it survives. So, you know, you can probably tell me
Sure.
the whole thing about, you know, the projections and understanding your numbers, how
Exactly.
that was critical
You
in
must-
part of your growth strategy.
And it's not so complex.
Right.
You have to understand what your liabilities are, what is your revenue, what's your income. You know, and you can't spend more than you're earning.
It's a simple math, really.
Simple maths
It's
and
simple
cash flow. When you look at cash flow, the thing when the money come in, the cash flowing, but it's flowing out, and not to where it should be going. So it's a unstructured river. You know, the ones that you see flooding out the homes. So cash flow has to be structured
Yes.
to be
And
rational and
relationships.
reasonable. Yes.
The other thing added to the cash flow and your structured business plan
Right.
is that you have to hone your relationships and your relationship skills.
Yes.
Because everybody, this pandemic caught everybody off guard.
Oh, yes.
No one saw this one coming.
There was no planning for it.
So while you had a challenge as a purchaser, so did your supplier and so did your customer.
Yes.
So you have to now look back at the relationship you have with your supplier
Yes.
Yes.
and your customer
Yes.
and find that fit
And work
to
it
cater
out.
to
Yes.
both the needs on both sides and try to optimize the best way to navigate these new challenges for everybody.
And in the
Yes.
middle of that is trust, right?
Well, you can't make a promise
Exactly.
and not deliver and expect that the next time you come to that person, they're going to say, oh, yeah, man, no problem. You never delivered last time.
But
me no say I got delivered. No, it does not
it doesn't
work that way.
like- for sure.
No.
We know that.
Integrity, honesty, trust, that's what builds a business and
Exactly.
relationships.
And I want to say to, you know, pandemic, this time was COVID, but you have hurricane and everything else, you know.
Absolutely.
So
That's true.
don't, but I think that when we get over, which I wish soon, we get over COVID, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
There will
And you
always
enter
be
hurricane
another
season.
There'll be
time.
something
Yes.
else.
And flood,
Yes.
etc., etc. So it is critical for us to be prepared and resilient, build resilience into your business.
Yes.
Yes.
So that when the shock comes, you can deal with it to a certain. You can mitigate the big risks.
Right.
Right.
It's very important.
Agreed. And you know what I would say, even with as part of this, that companies should look at maybe what are some of the quick wins
Yes.
and what are some of the midterm
Yes.
goals and
Yes.
the long term.
Exactly.
So whatever the quick wins are, you focus and try to get that over.
Right.
Yes.
And then you look at, you know, how do you move?
Exactly.
And
How
I
you
mean,
move
if you look
forward.
at even what are the areas that you may have to cut,
Exactly.
right?
You
Because
definitely
again-
have to
reality.
assess your business.
Because
Yeah.
I'm sure that with COVID, persons thought that certain areas they could not leave out.
Right,
Right?
right.
They had
And
to.
now they're surprised to know that this is not needed anymore as part of the business
And it's not
structure.
the end of the world, by the
right?
way.
And the business survive and thrive.
I'm
One
probably
of the
better
things
off.
on that note, Casey,
Yes.
businesses that were willing to work with their team and not necessarily cut staff immediately
Right.
sent a clear message to the team that, you know, we're going to
In it
navigate this together.
We in it together.
Yes, and so one of the things that we did when we had to look at the hours was that we opted to open on a Saturday where we would not normally open on a Saturday. And our team rallied with us.
Yes.
Wow,
And
excellent.
I know they appreciated that we made up the 40-hour work week by working on the Saturday
Exactly.
rather than cutting salaries. So, you know, you have to be willing to work together as a team to navigate the challenge. And sometimes it means that you're going to have to sit down and hammer out the best way as a team to move forward.
Yes.
And sometimes the owner have to take the little cut, you know,
Yes.
Yeah.
to keep the team rolling.
Yes.
Correct.
You know?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
It's
But it's a good
important.
investment. It's a good investment.
Yes,
Yes.
if you believe in your team, and I mean,
Yes.
you have to be honest, no company is viable without a good team.
Exactly.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
There is no company without, if there's no co-workers or no
No,
staff,
no,
there's
no,
no
no.
company. Because the CEO can't do everything.
No, no,
on it,
Absolutely not.
right?
No, no.
Yeah.
And I often use this picture, I think in pictures, as you can imagine.
Yes.
If you're in a canoe,
Right.
and you as the leader rowing up the front, and one dissatisfied person on the canoe put a
Yes.
hole in it, at a point, all you're going to sink, right?
The ship will
That's
sink.
so true.
The
Yes.
ship will sink.
It is.
Exactly.
So it means everybody have to be on board
Yes.
and moving in the same direction.
Yes,
Or else
agreed.
you're in
Absolutely.
big, big trouble.
Yes,
Yes.
agreed.
Yes.
So I'm going to move into another strategy, expansion.
Mm-hmm.
A
Growth.
lot of and growth. A lot of companies had to look at. Well, I don't know if Andrea can tell. She expanded her warehouse or etc. But a lot of companies had to, you know, as part of the plan for moving forward, you have to think about: are you going to have, you know, increase locations? Are you going to expand your warehouse? Are you going to expand your operations in terms of your system, your customer base? Looking at maybe some things like listing on the stock exchange. So, Valerie, you
Right.
can explain.
That's what we
you know,
are
what do you
thinking of
think?
that
Some of
too.
any other you can support and tell me if you have any other points where you believe
Mm-hmm.
that companies need to look at in expanding their business.
First of all, expansion is not necessarily opening new branches, although that is a
That's part of it,
possibility.
right?
You could be growing in the same space by being more efficient.
That's true.
You know?
Yes.
And just earning more with less, because you have put productivity, I know that is your nice word, you have put productivity in space, 'cause you probably had a lot of waste before, you know, without realizing, 'cause you're getting by. Now you are forced to revisit the situation and become more productive, even within the same space. Also, you might partner and cluster, you talk about relationships,
yes.
with other enterprises in
Like-minded,
the supply chain
Yes.
and the value chain
Yes.
that can bring you added income
Yes.
and bring them together. You're growing together. So
Right.
it don't have to be you alone. It could be
Right.
that you're expanding your horizons.
Valerie, I don't think we can say that first part that you mentioned enough. Wherever you can save $1,
Yes.
you're earning $1.
Exactly.
And so an efficient business that makes sure that you operate efficiently, that you reduce the waste in every, turn off that light switch
Oh, yes.
where you don't need it. Put your AC unit at the optimum level for the team. If you don't need the AC, turn it off. Make sure you know you
Yes.
have to just be efficient.
Yes.
One of the things we did at P.L.A.N is that we implemented a solar plan.
Exactly.
And we have solar panels that help to reduce our cost. Of course, these are, you know, big ticket items, but we did it over time, gradually, and it has paid off, you know.
Yes.
Of course, it did pay off.
And that would
Yes.
make sense, especially if you're in manufacturing or,
Yes.
or a company
Yes.
like yours,
Exactly.
where you have
Yes.
to store goods
Yes.
at appropriate temperatures, etc.
Exactly.
Right? So that's going to be very key.
And we had a company manufacturing garments who was having a lot of waste in raw material. But them could have buy more, so it's all right. Then when the crunch time come,
Yeah.
you know what was giving them a lot of problem? On the shelf where they store it, there was a nail. Every
It would
time they
tear the
move the
fabric.
baler cloth,
Yes.
it was tearing.
Yes.
A
Oh, wow.
simple thing like that.
Yes.
But it was going by okay before. Can you just buy more and say, la, la, la. No, first of all, the cloth not coming in. Because we have
Yes,
problems
yes,
with raw material
delayed
coming in.
and ship it. Yes.
Yes.
And then secondly, it costs money.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So sometimes it's not a big thing to make you more productive.
Yes.
These little things are critical.
Yes.
Yes. But so Valerie, I want you to probably shed some light on, looking at listing your company on a stock exchange as a possible expansion opportunity or growth strategy.
Yes, yes, and that's a great new possibility. But it means that your books answer have to be.
Absolutely impeccable.
Yes, so it comes back to having
You
a
have to be
strong
fit
business
and
model,
proper.
and you have to be fit and proper before you step there.
Yes.
Right.
So there are companies who are looking at
Right.
doing that, and it's a great possibility for them. And even the social enterprise sector, which is emerging,
Yes.
Right.
which is a business as well,
Yes.
they realize it's not charity thing, You have to be earning, they need cash to care.
It
If
does
the
take cash.
operation is not earning, soon enough it's going to close.
Yes.
There's nothing social about that when you have no resources
Yes.
to share in the
Yes.
company.
Yes.
So it's a business, and you have the stock market developing that. It's a business that needs to be running efficiently so
Yes.
they have extra to share. It's a different business model.
Yes.
But
Yes.
business come first.
Yes.
Yes.
Business
Absolutely.
is the big thing, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
How you spend your profit is a different story.
So I guess what Valerie is saying is that you can't list on the stock exchange until
Without
your business is
Proper
sure
business.
Right.
and well established
Right.
Yes.
and ready
Right.
for
Ready.
that
Ready
launch.
for others to
Right.
join
Because
you.
you're gonna be answering to a lot of people,
Oh, yes.
and your shareholders are going to expect
Yes.
their
yes,
share of the pie.
Yes,
That's right.
So
shareholders
yes,
sharing of profits.
Right.
correct. So you have to be ready to
have to be ready.
grow the business so that you can
You can
share.
share.
So I would imagine that this is only really applicable to companies at a certain stage in their business.
Stage,
Right. So
yes.
I would not say it's not everyone. So depending on where you are in your business life cycle,
Yes,
then you would
exactly.
determine what is the
you are
best
matured,
strategy.
Yes.
If you're
for
mature,
you.
that is for you.
Yes.
So whether it is a stock exchange,
If you're
or
ready for it.
If you're ready for it,
Yes.
or as you would have said, maybe if you want to offer and expand location, etc.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's a strong center that can add on now. You have something to sell, but if the business is just going along,
You have to make sure that you have your
first of all, they're
infrastructure.
not going to list you anyway. They
Yes,
won't even bother talk to you.
exactly.
So I guess our conversation is so robust and our viewers are loving it. So I'm going to go into some questions and then I'll come back to the conversation. So I'm going to take questions from our viewers. So we have Andre Stew, who sent a question in our ScotiaLIVE inbox. And his question is, what are some of the new business areas opening up because of the pandemic?
We had said services.
Right.
And services, as I keep saying, is not just delivering food, but mobile services.
Right.
And something, we have found that even a lawyer can be providing mobile service.
Yes.
As
Yes.
somebody who looking at a business opportunity, how many people need legal services in some community off the beaten track? And a person who want a lawyer who want to make some real new channels would look at something like that, mobile legal services.
Yes.
Valerie, for every challenge that you've had, there are solutions.
Yes.
And what I find is a lot of
Yes.
parents are frustrated with the online learning and teaching system. And so I think that is an opportunity that has not really been exhausted enough.
True.
Because there are so many persons who would be willing to pay persons to teach their children and to spend time with them in this new learning era, this new way of learning. So there are many opportunities out there that have not yet been explored, but I think that area is
a
one
big
that
need,
is a
big gap.
that is screaming out there for persons to fill the gap.
Yes.
Yes.
True. So I'm going to move to another question from one of our viewers. This is coming from Beatrice Smith, and her question is, how can I get help to review my business model?
Advertisement again.
Yes.
I can come to
Valerie,
KBDC.
Valerie, Valerie. There you go again.
Hello. you are welcome to come to Jamaica Business Development Corporation. That's what we are there for. So we will sit with you, whether it's by technology or physically, and go through your business ideas and see how we can help you along. We have different tiers of clients, as I was sharing.
Right.
Before, we have our nursery. This is where you come with all the ideas and you mix up and you're not sure what you want to do or how you can do it. We go through that. You move up, tier 1 is where you would formalize and register the business and start doing your business modeling and so on and so forth. And you go right up until you reach accelerator, where you're now looking overseas and international markets and so on. So we have the full range, we say from concept to market and the in-between. Because we do have market, things Jamaica belong to us.
Right.
So we have those stores where some of those products can be marketed.
Okay.
But so it's a big full service.
So definitely
Please
go to
come along.
JBDC if you want to get some help about your business model.
And if you call in, I mean, we can always put you onto a business advisor.
Okay, excellent. So we're going to move to another question from Sarah. Sarah is from Zoom, and she's saying, how do I ensure my company can access a business loan? That sounds like it's actually my question, right?
It sounds like it's directed to you, Kesia.
So in order to access a business loan, what is important, the ladies would have highlighted earlier, your business needs to be registered. It's important that you must be in operation at least 2 to 3 years, and you can show and demonstrate that your business is capable of, has been performing. You must have good credit history. That is key. In addition to that, we want to make sure that we're going to ask you to, probably to show us your financials, how your company is operating. And so I'd advise you just come to one of our branches, speak to one of our business banking officer. He or she will walk you through, because again, depending on where you are in your business and the type of business that you have, then we're going to have different requirements, because you could be a sole trader, you could be a partnership or a limited liability company. Depending on how the company is structured, and we'll say it would need these documents. But what I can say, the key thing is you need to have good credit history, your business must be registered, and you have the documents to show that. And once you can demonstrate, then we will now walk you through all the other criteria, right? Now we have one other question that we're going to go into before we go back into the other conversation, the rest of our conversation. So we have a question from Instagram, and it is from Business Guru 1, and it's saying, what KPI can I implement in my business to keep better track of performance?
Well, Business Guru is supposed to know that.
Right? Right? Hence the name.
But the KPIs, of course, will depend on your own business. But one important one that I think is common to all businesses would be the KPIs to monitor your client's relationship. You need to know that, because if you're not monitoring how that relationship is going, the business is in problems. You need to be able to raise the red flag.
I'm sure you see my mind rolling over. One of the things that we use at P.L.A.N is that, and this is where Peter, my husband, is a stickler. He does a financial analysis of our week's performance every week.
Wow.
What most people do on monthly or annually, he does every Friday. So at the end of the week, he knows where we stand. Who are your creditors, what's owed to them, what your customers have on the road, where it is, and that is critical. You need to know your accounts receivable, what your creditors are expecting of you, and you have to have a projection so that your cash flow is very, very, very clear. You have to know your stock levels, what's overstocked, what's what you need. So those are the things that you have to pay attention to as a service provider.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Well, that's very key, right? So we're going to go back into our conversation, ladies, because we were on the growth strategies and looking at, what are the areas that companies need, SMEs need to look for in order to move their business to the next level. So I'm going to the area that is very passionate to me, which is marketing, right? So this is one area I think a lot of companies tend to sometimes used to overlook or thought we don't need marketing, etc. But I'm sure the pandemic has shown a lot of companies, the relevance and importance of having a strong marketing plan and strategy to drive your business to grow. So I don't know, Valerie, if you want to share with us what are some of the things that you believe companies should do. You mentioned it earlier, and maybe you can expound it about the research element
Yes.
that you can go into.
Well, first of all, if your business is a secret, it's not a business.
That's true.
So you must be out there marketing it somebody, you know, if you hope to even begin. And as we said, we need to research. Who is your target audience? And then the appropriate marketing strategy to get to that client is important. And you have to be big on marketing because that's how you sell the story.
That's it.
It has to be real, though, because fake marketing is the worst thing. When they come and say, that's what you say, I want you to check it out, this foolishness, and it spreads.
Absolutely.
Business ethic goes down. So I support you that marketing is a key part of developing and growing a business. But you need to know your target group. And in that process, see if there are any new targets that you could bring to your initial group. Like how the pandemic now can probably, you know, help you to see new revenue streams, new target groups. But it is a key thing, and you need to be refreshing it.
Yes.
And speak in the voice of the client.
Yes.
The way you sell to your age group is probably different to you sell to my silver age group. We're looking in different places for the information.
Yes.
Right.
We're listening differently.
Yes.
We have to be clear about that. So marketing is critical. And then how we use technology to, you know, to enhance what we're talking about.
Yeah, I saw Andrea smiling as you were
It's
talking.
true. It's so true.
It's so true, right?
Yes.
So Valerie said it nicely that you definitely have to understand your audience and to determine what is the right tool to reach to your audience. So, you know, like for example, search engine optimization is a key thing.
Yes.
That has really helped a lot of companies because again, if you're clear on your companies, like your customers and what they like and what they look for, then you can come up with an aggressive campaign and target those persons to get something. Exactly.
Know what you're selling.
Yes.
Well,
So that's very key.
Facebook/Meta/IG taught us that. The data is critical. You need to know what you have, how many people you're catering to, and what they expect of you. And they'll tell you.
Yes.
The market is very responsive. So you will know in a flash whether you're well received or not.
Or not, right.
Yes.
And so in that, you must have a strong social media strategy as well.
Yes,
exactly.
I can't envision any company now not having a social media strategy because you have to, as you said, the target audience is so vast and wide.
Exactly.
And you have to find the ways that how
they're
they're consuming data or
how they're listening.
Correct. And so you have to meet them where they're at. And so that is very critical for every company.
Yes.
Needs to have that in their plan.
And be honest.
And
You
be
have
honest.
to be honest because if you market something and you deliver something else,
That's it.
that you're cutting yourself off at the pass. You're not going to grow.
Yes.
In fact, you may end up in debt because when you
Yeah.
don't deliver, if you don't
Word
deliver what you
spreads.
promise,
Word spreads.
then it gets around that, you know, that
Right.
company that says they're going to do this,
Right.
don't bother with them because
And
they're
go on
way...
social media.
Absolutely.
And social media has made it even so much easier
spread the word.
to spread the
Bad or
negative
good.
words
Yeah.
about your
Bad or
company,
good,
right?
will be
Bad or
spread.
good.
Oh,
says
On that
critical.
note, I mean, we're all human though. So if you make a mistake, own it.
Right.
Admit it quickly and
Yes.
do whatever you can to correct it.
Correct. All right, so we're going to move to another area, which is productivity.
Yes.
That is the buzzword around,
It
right?
is.
And
It
so the pandemic has shown us that you know, many
Yes.
entrepreneurs, you know, need to look at how do you make your staff productive. I know before, you know, people used to think about you have to come into office to work, or else you can't be productive. But that has shown, we have learned in the last 2 years that you can be very productive without physically being in an office.
Millennials have taught us.
That.
If you expect the millennials to get into office at 8 a.m.
And sit down till 5.
and stay there until 6
gonna
or
happen.
7, no.
And by the way, getting
doesn't
in
have
at
to.
8
It doesn't
a.m.
have to.
and reading the newspaper and eating your big breakfast and then reading the you know,
That's not
explaining
work.
to
That's
people
not
all that
work.
happened
No,
yesterday. That's highly productive, and your next effort is to go get lunch.
Yes, that's not
And about
productivity at
3:30
all.
you start prep to leave.
No.
No.
But the
being-
millennials have a lot to offer, though,
Of
because
course.
their style of working is different, but it is actually very, very productive.
delivery is what
they
you should
work
be
in
looking
a
at.
different
Yeah.
kind of way, in a
Different-
different space.
They work in a different
So,
voice.
absolutely.
All right. So I want to point in this area for productivity, you should know your numbers.
You must
right?
know
You
your
must.
numbers.
Can you imagine, Andrew, you can expound as a business owner about that, about the importance of knowing your numbers.
Must know your
Absolutely. You must have the back end support. You must have the data in your business to support anything that you're doing.
Can't be
You must be able
guesswork.
to know. No, you have to know exactly what's going on in your business.
Okay. And so, Valerie, you can tell me in terms of your processes that they must be more efficient, you know, and also invest in equipment. You want to
Yes, we need to invest in appropriate equipment again. Some people, I mean, if you're in furniture and you go buy a piece of equipment that churn out 5,000 beds every week and the market can only absorb 1,000, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you have to be clear, as we said before, what is your business about?
Right.
And the tool, the equipment, like the people, because they have to be fit for purpose as well,
Yes.
Yes.
that your tools, human and otherwise, are fit for purpose.
I love that word. That is it. That statement, fit for purpose. And as you talk about fit for purpose, it's about training and development of your staff.
Oh,
Yes.
definitely.
So
That is
that-
important. Very, very
Absolutely
Yes.
important. Just like how the equipment can get outdated. You know, the old time machine that people used to use, nobody not using that again, right?
Singer sewing machine?
Yes, I have one at home. The fact is, it's the same way you need to reskill.
Yes.
The same way you manage the machinery, same way you manage the people. Invest in reskilling. So they again have to be fit for purpose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me as the head of JBDC have to be every day,
For
make
purpose.
sure I'm sharp,
Right.
deal
Yes.
with the new
Yes.
generation.
Yes. And
Yes.
willing to change.
Will
Learn.
open to change.
Yes.
Open
Yes.
to change
Yes.
and demonstrate
Alright.
with your leadership style.
Yes.
Very critical. The other part I want to talk about is you have to develop a customer-focused culture.
Oh, yes.
That is so important, right? If you
course.
don't have that, if you don't focus on your
Have to
customer,
listen
there's
to
no
your
business,
Not going to happen without that.
right?
Of course.
Very key.
Must.
And Andrea, you spoke about relationship.
Yes.
No.
That
yes.
is so key, right?
Yes,
If
yes,
you
yes.
don't understand, you have to have strong with your suppliers, with your customers,
Yes.
everyone.
And your team.
And your team. And knowing your customers, right?
Yes.
You
You
must.
have to know your customers and leave a space where they can respond.
Yes.
You know, you have to allow them to and feel that you're responding to the request as well.
They're part
Yeah.
of
You
the
know, they can't be
process.
pounding you over and over again saying, I need, and you just not
You just
respond.
say, oh, they're miserable.
Right. And a key area, I'm moving from, from the staff and stuff, but moving into money, funding. It is
My
very,
favorite
your
part.
favorite part.
Yeah, man.
That's right.
But you love the money.
Of course. You can't go anywhere without money.
Yeah.
It's how you get it. Yes.
All right, so money is essential to
It
the element
is.
of a business, right? And so what I want to stress from the banking perspective is important to have a business banker. Let your business banker tell you and share with you what are the different products that we have to offer and how it will work for your company. So whether it is a term loan or you need a credit card or it's a line of credit, it's important to speak so that we can make sure that we choose the appropriate business, appropriate
product for
product
you.
for your business to ensure that we can help you to grow, right? And, have a business account.
Yes,
Open a
please.
business account, it needs to be formalized. That is how you can even track the growth of your business because we have a system that can tell you, when money is deposited, when it's taken out, you can see the whole history. And that's important as
It's
part
very
of your keeping track of your data. And I would say, keep your accountant close. A lot of people don't
Yes.
think, but you can imagine not having an accountant. Andrew, you can speak it, right?
Absolutely. That is you have to have a very, very good relationship with your accountant.
Yes.
And your financials should be current.
Yes.
That is just a key
It's
thing
a
to a
must.
business. And
It's a must.
that's one of the things I said, Peter,
let me finish, okay.
my husband and co-CEO of P.L.A.N, he makes sure that the numbers are accurate.
By the way, that's a
at
business
all times.
opportunity.
Yes.
It's a business opportunity to provide that service because
Yes.
a small business might be able to support a full-time accountant. But it's a
Right.
business opportunity if you have 10 people,
Yes.
10 businesses.
Right.
Yes.
You can be servicing them. That's a business opportunity.
That's a business opportunity. That's
Yes,
true.
for sure.
So,
Yes.
you know.
So ladies, we've spoken about so many different strategies to help business to grow, right? And I mean, I'm sure SMEs have learned a lot today just from
Hopefully.
that. But I want to move into another area, which I guess a lot of us have been asking. You know, how do I get support? What are the programs to support and develop my business? So you know, Valerie, you can probably tell me some of the programs that you know that we have to support our SMEs.
Right. Well, in terms of building the business,
Right.
then of course there's a JBDC, which is for sure. But the DBJ, Development Bank of Jamaica, they have a number of programs. Some of them support loans.
Correct. So they have like
Yes.
the CEF, which is a
Right,
guarantee
which work
program.
through the banks,
Right.
like Scotia. There are grant programs as well.
Yes, there are grant programs.
And I particularly like their voucher program,
Yes.
which allows you to utilize grant funds to do some of the things we have talked about.
Yes, whether if you want to do auditing or you want to look at
Solar.
writing a business plan,
Equipment,
yes.
equipment,
Like
etc.
how you want to put
solar
your solar
panels.
in,
Right.
They're big on that.
develop a marketing plan,
Yes.
this kind of thing, it's there for you to use.
Right,
You
and
know?
they recently launched the SURF program.
Yes.
That's where they're offering loans at 5%.
Yes.
See, who can to help you whether you want to restructure your debt or you
Yes,
want to use for
exactly.
working capital, etc.
yes.
And so you can come to any of the banks. You can come to Scotiabank
And ask
and ask
specifically.
specifically for the SURF program, and we'll be able to help you.
But you have to have a business that is structured.
That is important, yes. And so the other thing which I also want, the other program, at Scotiabank, we do Scotiabank Vision Achiever. That is a
yes,
very
very
critical
good.
program. And last year we did this program called the Brad Sugar's 30X. So we continue to offer capacity building
All the
training.
time.
We work with JBDC, etc. And so these are some of the programs that SMEs can capitalize
Of
on.
course.
And just to look out from Scotiabank, because we do have these programs from time to time where we actually educate and inform. Even this very program is one that
It's
we
part of
use to
it.
help our SMEs so that they can learn. But I'm going to move over to some other questions again from
Sure.
our viewers. So I have a question here from Perry Austin, and it says, with everything being on social media, how do I get into social media audience?
How do you get into the social media?
Right.
There are actually professionals that
that can support you.
that support that business on the back end. And
Right.
if you do your research, I can't name anybody here today,
Right.
but there are persons who are able to provide that service for you.
Right.
Yes.
So it's important. I would say every company needs to ensure that they have at least a social media person
Presence, yes.
Yes,
in
to
their
guide
team.
them.
If not, as you say, you find a consultant that can help you to develop a proper strategy to drive your business. It's very important.
An expert.
And it's
Correct.
important to ensure that the person reflects you, because you
That's right.
you and your needs for your
Yes,
client base.
right.
Because you
Your
know
brand.
not everything is the right fit.
No.
So you need to make sure that your social media person is
Speaks-
actually reflecting
And speaks of you.
yes
Correct.
you in what they do.
Correct. So we're moving to another question. Here we have from Cheryl. Things are still uncertain. Plans used to be for 3 to 5 years. What is the guideline for planning now? Valerie?
Well, first of all, you need a frame. Once you have that frame, it has to be more agile than 3 to 5 years planning. Because watch, pandemic, come and boof, you have to change. As we said earlier, while you have a frame that says this is the business I want to be in,
Right.
this is my client group, you have to be agile now to make adjustments. Constantly reviewing what is happening.
Right.
And as Andrea said, you have to know what is really happening on a regular basis and make the adjustments.
I believe you have to have a
Accordingly.
short-term plan,
And the long term,
medium, and a long-term
as you
plan.
said earlier.
Yes.
It is critical. We are very happy that our children are involved in our business, because
Exactly.
our
It's been-
succession plan, I mean,
Yes.
we can't keep plugging at this thing
Forever.
and giving 200% of
Right.
your
No.
energy
No.
all the time. So
Yes.
it's good to have new blood
coming in.
They come in with fresh ideas
Yes.
and new ways of doing
Sustainable.
things.
Don't it?
And your succession plan has to be solid and secure.
Okay, very
Must be,
true.
must be.
Yes.
Moving to another question, ladies. It's from Leslie McIntyre from Instagram. She's asking, I have a small business and I currently use my personal account for business. Is that okay?
No.
So I think that is for me, no.
Absolutely no.
Absolutely no, right? And Andrea, you can speak to that. Absolutely no,
No,
right?
no, you
no.
have to separate the two.
Yes.
You may use your personal business to your personal funds to help to grow the business initially, but you should know how much of your personal funds that you expect to get back from the business eventually, because
Yes.
it's not that you're putting it in there because you're kind to your business and your
No.
team. No.
It's an
That is an investment in your
Correct.
future. Therefore, you must separate the two. Must.
You must. And so I
The
will tell you,
business
as the banker,
And
will
that the
say
business
to
money
you,
is not yours.
right.
Absolutely not.
We will say to you that is important because
must.
again, this also helps you when you want in the future.
Yeah,
If
but
you want to take
history.
a loan, we have a history.
Yes.
So we can look
No,
at the business
can't.
performance, and that will help you determine even, we offering, giving you some
And it
financial
shows that you're
assistance,
serious.
right?
It shows
So
that
it's-
seriousness.
Yes, it's very important. All right, so we have another question here from Wendy Meyer, and it's, how do I find businesses that may be floundering that I can buy into? So I guess she's saying, she's looking for opportunities.
Right,
So now
right.
that COVID is here, some business may not be doing well. Where could she go to find some help to find some business?
Maybe she could advertise to say that she's willing to
Interesting.
offer support
Right.
for businesses that are floundering. But, I mean,
dangerous.
it's a little, that will present some other challenges, let's put it that way.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
You
I
have
would
to be
say
very
that,
careful.
that to me would be critical to speak to your network.
Yes.
When you have,
True.
when your network, oftentimes people know somebody who knows somebody,
them raise
etc.
them hand.
And they will probably indicate. So that would be a great opportunity
And they
for
raise
them
their
to
hand for help.
listen for help, and then probably from there that person could find some opportunities.
Right.
So which is important.
And
Speak
people-
to your network, reach out to a person that you know, and you
Yeah.
can find
And
out from
there's
them.
some-
Sounds like a Shark Tank kind
Right,
of
and there are
Yes.
some people
plan.
who not really ready for a loan at a bank.
Yeah.
They don't qualify for that.
Yes.
And the partnerships and equity partners
Angels.
is something that they're looking for.
Yes.
So
Where is it?
it's not really highly
It's in
developed
there,
in Jamaica. I
in
don't
terms of
think.
expansion, that one?
No, but
Okay. So I'm seeing here another question that we have from Charlotte Campbell. It says, in terms of expansion, companies have historically looked at expansions into cities or large towns. COVID has taught us that persons are willing to shop in local communities to avoid crowding into long lines. So can you speak to the idea of companies revisiting that model and look at partnering for community-based services?
You have to know your business. What can you offer to the customers in your space? You have to,
All right.
you can't be all things to all people is what
No,
I
you
would
have to be
say.
very
You have to
selective
know
and
what you
targeted.
can do.
And be targeted.
Absolutely.
Right. So, ladies, can you believe time is up on
Really?
us,
What
Right.
you saying?
They say when you're having fun, time goes by so fast.
Absolutely.
I can't believe it. We're almost at we're at the end of
We're
our
at the
session
end,
today.
oh
It has
boy.
been indeed a pleasure to have both of you. A robust conversation. I'm sure that our SMEs would have learned a lot from us today. I just want to, remind our SMEs, it's important to re-examine your business position. You need to have a solid business plan. Without, having a business plan, then, there is no business. You also need to have a good relationship with your business banker. That is very, very key. Have an established business strategy. Look at it, also revise it, whether it's going to be to see if you need to be re-innovate or innovate, and look who you can partner with. It's important to include in your growth strategy. You have to have something about technology, about marketing, looking at your reviewed operations. It's important to also look at, in terms of your customer expectation and what are the right solutions to offer to your customers. And most importantly, as SMEs, always, look out for your business banker who can help you in any situation. Scotiabank is here to help you. Want to thank you so much for choosing us as your financial institution to do your business. And I want to say thanks to the ladies again for joining me today. It has been our pleasure. If you have any other questions that you want to send to us, you can always send it to our IG page, which is at Scotiabank Jam, and we'll take some of those questions from you as well. And I want to thank you so much for spending the time with us today. I can't believe it's already at the end. It has been a great pleasure, and thank you so much for joining us for another episode in Scotia Live. Ladies, it has been our pleasure.
My pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and I hope we've been helpful to your views.
I hope so too, and that is hard work to run a business successfully.
It is.
Yes, it is hard work.
In the dictionary, that success comes before hard work, right?
And so SMEs, I just want to encourage you, stay strong, stay focused, keep safe, re-innovate, and also think creative and think big. Have yourself a wonderful evening.
Download the new Scotia app with a faster low-time bank wherever, whenever. Be in control and transfer funds or pay bills quicker with just a few taps and a swipe. Plus, we're serious about security. Want real-time notifications for all your transactions? Check. Log in with fingerprint? Check. Turn your credit card on and off? Triple check. Protected. Your money is safe and secure. Bank wherever, whenever. You choose with the new Scotia app.
Wow. Stop. What?
Oliver,
Is who that hollering out my name?
who are you following me? Go to Scotiabank.
Quick, go which bank? Hold foot like we fit on our yard and bank online.
Ain't that safe?
It's the safest thing. Just download the Scotia app or go to Scotia online for everything like transfer or check your balance and everything online free.
Free?
Bank with Scotia online. Let me show you. But I'm not going with my phone.